All right, I'm back and we are about to lock and load and go here. I can't hear anything. You should be able to hear something now. Do you have a printable I'm just reading questions, guys. Do you have a printable outline we can download before getting started? There is no printable out download. We're actually getting a lot of feedback from you guys on what you'd like. Today, for the first time, I have a quick start guide at the end that I'll be reviewing with you. For the next few, over the next few webinars, I'm going to create outlines. So thanks for that feedback. I'm actually writing that down right now as I go. Any feedback that anybody has, anytime, just type it in and let me know. We're definitely listening to you guys and implementing as much of it as we can that makes sense. So, all right, well, without further ado, packed house, let's roll. Today, this webinar is going to be unlike any that you've ever been on. One, because if you haven't been on a webinar with me, it's me. And two, there is absolutely nothing for sale. For those of you who have been on a previous webinar, you know exactly how I like to do it. I just like to deliver over-the-top value to you guys with great content and then let you know some next steps you can take for more to build your business. But that being said, there's absolutely nothing for sale on this business, or sorry, on this webinar. So you are not going to get one of those typical little webinars where it's you get the what you should do, but then you're getting sold the how to actually do it. Okay, and that's a typical formula, right? Is you get told what you should be doing, but then they try to pitch you with how to the product that enables you how to do it, right? That is not the case today. Today you are going to be learning 100% proven step-by-step strategies for your business. Now, and that just took the words out of my own mouth there. These are all 100% proven plug-and-play strategies. This specific strategy that I'm sharing today and the 3 versions of it, microfarming, and it's going to be microfarming 101, 201, and 301, which I wasn't able to get to in the previous webinars because we were covering 3 different strategies. Today is just one strategy and then 3 layers of it of what you can do to really crush it in your local market and generate 3 to 5 additional listings per month on average, consistently and predictably, okay? So for those of you who are on today, that's what you're in for. This strategy literally will position you for where the puck is headed, not where it's been. This is the formula that President Obama used both times to win his election. I'll get to that in a second, in a little bit, and talk about what that science was. That being said, I'm not going to dwell on it for too long. This is all about making it relevant for you as a real estate agent in your business. So I will reference those quote unquote big ideas throughout the webinar. But that being said, I'm going to do the best job I can to keep it highly relevant to you, your business, your day-to-day stuff, so that it's not often, as I would say, la-la land or up in the clouds. I'll reference big ideas when it's healthy for the context. But that being said, I'm going to keep it granular, and I'm going to keep it down to you guys. Our big why. We believe in the democratization of information and knowledge, that everyone should have equal access to insights and information. We're all about tearing down the Berlin Wall of knowledge gaps and open sourcing the playing field. Okay, that's our big why as ProQuest Technologies. That's why we do what we do. You guys have probably heard about open sourcing in computer science and programming, how that has literally revolutionized to the tech world, and how it's created growth in society and in civilization by leaps and bounds because of open sourcing tech. Well, we believe in open sourcing information and leveling the playing field. So that is why we do what we do as a company. And our mission for 2000, well, through the end of this year and into 2014 and beyond is this. We're on a mission to help 2,000 agents grow their business to $250,000 a year in additional income by reverse engineering what makes the top agent successful and creating easy-to-use step-by-step strategies and tools, okay? And this webinar is one of those things that we're doing. Everything that we do is filtered through our why and through our mission. And if it can't help us accomplish our mission, and if it doesn't resonate with our why, we won't be doing it, we won't be playing with it. So I just want you guys, for those of you who have not been on a webinar with me before, to hear that and to understand where I'm coming at this from, where we as a company, as a group are coming at this from, okay? Today's playbook, our workshop length is going to be about 90 minutes. And I put in there warning, heavy content. The last couple of webinars, I've covered quite a bit of marketing speak, some philosophical underpinnings of marketing, business development, growth. Today's webinar is just pretty much where I got a couple of quick intro spots, but after that is just diving straight into the meat and potatoes because, again, I'm trying to cover 3 different elements of microfarming, and I want to give it to you guys away step by step. Also, in Microfarming 301, we're actually going to be going online, and you're going to watch me do things step by step, okay? So heavy content today. Pay attention. Do ask questions throughout, and what I'll do is at the end of every section, at the end of 101, 201, and 301, I'll stop to answer any questions that are going on. I'm going to really quickly cover typical agent frustrations. I'll spend 3 minutes or less on that. I'm going to quickly recap for those of you who haven't heard before the dumb marketing idea. I'll spend 3 minutes or less on that, and then we're going to jump straight into Microfarming 101, which is a core recap. We'll spend about 5 minutes on that. It will be a core recap of what microfarming was, what I've already shared with you about microfarming in the last 2 webinars where I hinted at it. For those of you who just haven't been on that. And then the rest of the webinar is going to be Microfarming 201 and Microfarming 301. And then I'm going to give you a quick start action guide, how to get this all rolling for you. And then, of course, in usual style, I have a surprise gift for you guys that I think was going to just blow your socks off with what we're giving away today. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys and to see what it does for your business. Some typical agent frustrations that we've been getting, and these are the same emails that I shared with you guys last week. That being said, they're still all fresh. This is 3 emails that I've gotten from agents just in late October. But for those of you who haven't seen this before, I want you to see what I'm hearing from you guys when I talk with you about your biggest frustrations, when I ask you what your biggest challenges are. And I've blocked out privacy, so I want you to know that if you ever share anything with me and I use it in my webinars or training, your privacy will be respected and protected, okay? Here's an email I got from David, and some of you might be able to relate to this is, I have tried all types of direct mail marketing and it does not seem to work. My dream is to put out a flyer that makes high-end homeowners call me or at least put their hand up to say they're thinking of selling. Check out David, blah, 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 to see my resume. I have no problem getting the business once in the door. It's getting homeowners to call me that is a challenge. I'm looking forward to your webinar. David, if you're on today, my friend, this webinar is so very specifically for you. And for those of you who have heard this, seen this part from me before and know a little bit about maybe what the core of microfarming is from my last webinar and you're here for the advanced strategies today, you know that this webinar is based, everything that we do in our webinars, everything I do in my webinars is based upon addressing real questions and pains from you guys. It's really important for me to know that you guys know that. This isn't something I just came up with because I thought it'd be great to share. We don't do webinars like that here at ProQuest Technologies. Everything that we're sharing today is because it comes from real pains and challenges that you guys are sharing with us, okay? Another email that I got was from Tina, and she said, I'm contracting with local newspapers to do all my email marketing. She probably meant direct marketing, but I want to know how to do it myself so I can save money. I want to know how to reach particular households with my specific demographics. I want to lead people to my website and click to get more information from me. My biggest fear is that I won't have the time it takes to manage social media and marketing. I am a one-person department. And the third email I'll share here real quickly is we are presently spending, $1,200 a month on leads from Trulia, Zillow, Real Estate Pipeline, LCM Success, Market Leader, etc. But we get few or some, but not good enough quality leads. We follow up within 2 minutes and send emails. We get most serious lookers and buyers. We just need more qualified leads at hopefully a lesser price or better leads at a reasonable price. Our biggest fear is that we will continue to work hard and long at some expense and not realize a good income for the efforts and expense involved. If any of this resonates with you guys, would you just type in the chat box and let me know if any of this resonates with you? And if you would too, please share with me maybe what your biggest frustration is yourself, maybe in just one sentence. What is your biggest frustration or challenge? I'm looking at the chat box right now, so if there's anything that pops out that you guys share with me, I'll be able to mention that live here and maybe even work it into the webinar content if I don't end up specifically addressing it. Quality leads, totally relate. Cost is always a factor. Yes, 100%. Poor quality leads, okay. Carla from Portland, yes, I don't spend money on leads, but my awesome guys, door flyers versus postcard farming. Yes, paying too much for typical web leads. Leads from paid sources are not well qualified enough. Too many disintermediaries in our business. Totally get that. Amen. Getting leads into our website. They register, and no matter what we do, we don't seem to be able to connect. Man, oh man, do I feel that pain. I used to, when I was a real estate agent for 4 or 5 years, I used to smile and dial and farm on internet leads because I did most of my stuff online. Man, do I feel that pain. Carla from Portland, yes, I don't spend money in leads, but my challenge is to get good quality leads from my database. Awesome, guys. Thanks so much for sharing, and just let me know who's listening and what your guys' problems are. Too many options to use with nothing being a proven way. Yep, exactly. So everything you guys are sharing with me, I'm so happy that you're sharing that, because today's webinar will deliver on exactly all of that. It seems like right now there's, in every industry, in every situation, there's trends and waves. And right now, the fact that all of you, so many of you are sharing almost the exact same thing from a different, but just from maybe a different perspective, is 100% validation proof for me that this webinar is very timely, so it puts the wind in my sails. A real quick recap of what the dumb marketing idea is. The dumb marketing idea is this. It is a very smart idea to wire your marketing plan assuming abysmal, loser, pathetic, worst-case results. Here's why. Typically, agents buy into the latest and greatest. They sit back all happy, and then typically what happens is it doesn't pan out, right? So what if you had, the question I ask you is this, what if you had a marketing plan such that you can get crappy results and still hit your marketing goals, bringing in 3 to 5 new clients monthly? I want you to let that question sink in for a second. What if you had a marketing system and plan in place, especially for those people who just messaged me and shared with me what your biggest frustrations are? This question right here ought to, I'm assuming, resonate with you. Tell me more. Somebody just typed in, tell me more. Awesome, thank you. And I will here in a second. But I believe that's a very powerful question, because that question stopped me dead in my tracks when an agent mentor of mine asked me that, and it really started to get me thinking in my business. But the question was, again, what if your marketing plan, how you were doing your marketing, was wired in such a way that you could get crappy results on your spend and time into it and still hit your marketing goals, bringing in 3 to 5 new clients monthly? By the way, where I came up with 3 to 5 new clients monthly is because 3 to 5 new clients, based upon the average median income or average median value of a home in the U.S., will get you to about $250,000 a year in revenue. Average price, I think right now, is about 208, 210. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if you guys have some other stats, but that is about where it's at. So 3 to 5 new clients a month, and today's focus is just on listings. So 3 to 5 new listings a month should take somebody there. Depends on the cost of the plan. I'm just reading some more feedback from you guys. Depends on the cost of the plan. Totally agree. If you did everything I'm going to share with you today, A through Z, including direct mail cost, everything compiled, anything to do with any of the strategies, you will be surprised at how tiny that budget would have to be. That would be awesome, more than I could handle perhaps. How do we make flyers to aim for sellers toward to use my services when less inventory makes them feel they don't need realtors now? You know what? That is a very good question, and this whole webinar is about that. So thank you so much for asking that. Again, guys, I don't want to sound like I'm patting my back, but today's content is a barn burner, okay? So be glued to your computer screen and then ask me questions throughout. I will periodically stop at every section to answer questions. And also today is today you're going to have exactly this program in place, is a marketing plan that if you execute it step by step, you can get crappy results and still hit your marketing goals, bringing in 3 to 5 new listings a month. Okay, and I challenge anybody by the end of this webinar to tell me that they think that wouldn't work once you get to the end of the webinar. Really quickly, before I get into now the intro and kick off the meat and potatoes, as you can see, guys, I'm moving a lot faster in this webinar than I have in the past webinars. My story, when I invented micro-marketing for myself, which is really just a compilation of Seth Godin's work, Greg Verdino's work, who are two mainstream popular authors, and then how I observed how President Obama won his first election, okay, and his second one, but at the time it was his first election. I reverse engineered it for myself into a farming strategy. I was literally sleeping under my desk in my office in my sleeping bag, because at the time real estate had hurt so bad for me that I literally had no money and I had to choose between living in an apartment or having an office space. I wasn't in a typical brokerage office space where it was all shared office spaces. I was renting my own kind of executive suite. And what I did was I rented an office space. I would sleep under my desk in my sleeping bag, shower at the gym to build my real estate business. I was young, right? I mean, young, bachelor, so I could do that. But I would stay up till 1 o'clock every single morning so the cleaning lady didn't know that I lived there. So she thought I was a workaholic that worked till 2 o'clock every morning. And that's what I did. And at that time in my life, this is a strategy I came up with and used to engineer my way out of that and create success for myself. So this was somebody, if you're not in a situation where you're sleeping in your sleeping bag under your desk because that's all you can afford and driving a beat-up truck, then this will work much better for you than it even did for me because I literally had no budget at the time. We just had a question. Please give the authors' names again. The authors' names are Seth Godin and Greg Verdino. I'm going to send those names to everybody right now. You should have gotten them. I just sent you the name of Seth Godin and Greg Verdino. You should have gotten those two names. There, you can just search them on Amazon and find their books. So, anyways, I just wanted to share that story with you guys, my personal story, be a little bit vulnerable there, but I think it's important for me to share with you the context of the fact that everything I'm going to show you today is not so high level that you need super sophisticated systems in place or you need a massive budget in place, okay? A young guy in his early 20s pulled this off, which was me, in a place where I was hungry and needed it to work, okay? The statement that necessity is the mother of invention is so true. So micro-marketing, here's the intro. The whole concept with micro-marketing and how it relates to real estate with micro-farming is that small is the new big, okay? And I've talked about, and I've used a weight loss example before. In today's webinar, for whoever hasn't been on the webinar before, I'm going to use a different example. Let's say I'm a marketer who has a nutrition supplement for pets. Okay, let's say for dogs, or like a healthy food, a health food for dogs, okay? If I was to go to market and market that product, most marketers would say, oh, I have this awesome health product for dogs. Buy this for your dog. Use it for your dog, okay? A slightly more sophisticated marketer would take that product and say, this is a health supplement. This is a health supplement product for dogs that are over 50 pounds. Okay, so you're narrowing the market down. You're eliminating everybody with a medium to small dog, okay? Now, even a more sophisticated marketer might say, I have a health supplement specifically for Huskies, Rottweilers, and German Shepherds. Now, why is that? Because the power of that is that you're going to match the world view, and that's a key word there, the world view of the person who owns a Husky, German Shepherd, or a Rottweiler. Okay, so if that person walks into a store, if that pet owner walks into a store looking for something for their pet that's a health supplement or some healthy food, are they going to pick the package that says healthy food for dogs or nutritious supplements for Huskies, German Shepherds, and Rottweilers? If they own any one of those three breeds, they're going to pick up that product. That's just common sense, right? Well, what we're going to be talking about today, what I'm going to be giving away to you guys as a strategy, especially for those of you who ask, how can I send out marketing that gets people to respond, raise their hand, is specifically that, is targeting in on worldviews, okay? There's three main pillars of real estate: farming, prospecting, and referrals. And there's marketing systems that you can create within all three. Today, we're focused on farming. Okay, and the focus is specifically what I've been calling micro-farming. This is the first time I'm giving away this strategy because I'm no longer practicing real estate as an agent, so now I kind of feel free to give it away because nobody's going to compete against me with it. This will be one of the biggest game changers over the next 18 to 24 months. The reason is because in 18 to 24 months, with the amount of times that I'm going to probably be giving this strategy away, we're going to end up having a lot of agents doing it nationwide. We have over 30,000 agents on our email list. You guys are the first 100 to be on this webinar today to get that. So this is all about a first mover advantage. Give it 24 months, and this is not going to be so new, and there's probably going to be a strong handful of agents doing this. So congratulations to you guys who are here today for the first time on it, getting the full 1, 2, and 3 of it, the 101, the 201, and 301, because you guys have that first mover opportunity. Okay. Micro-farming 101. Let's get right into the meat potatoes. Right before I jump in, are there any questions for me? First question, where do you get your demographic data to narrow your farming efforts? I will show you that in just a second. That's actually going to be covered right now in Micro Farming 101. Are there any more questions before we continue? Because that's what I'm going to do now is I got feedback from my last webinar that sometimes I move too fast. So I'm going to pause at the end of every section here, 101, 201, and 301 to answer any questions you guys have. Nothing? All right. Well, that seems to be the only question right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and roll in. The next time I open up for questions will be at the end of 101, right before I kick off 201. So what you would do is following that strategy of small is the new big and hyper niching down to, specifically Huskies, Rottweilers, and German Shepherds, is you will hyper niche your neighborhood. You will hyper niche down to the neighborhood to match their worldview. The names I have up there are markets that I'm really familiar with in the Seattle Northwest area. Phinney Ridge, Wallingford, and Fremont are in Seattle. East of Market and Houghton are markets in Kirkland, okay, another city by Seattle. Most agents, when we want to farm, when we're told to farm, we're told to pick this massive area and then just bombard it for 12 months, right? Once a month for 12 months or for 6 months with our flyers, with our face on it, our marketing, all of our branding on it. Okay? For micro farming to work and for you to get the massive results that it can produce, what you need to do is narrow it down to specific areas that would be small enough to be considered a neighborhood. So everybody, and here's an example, everybody in Phinney Ridge, Wallingford, or Fremont, if I was to mail them something, I would have to put Seattle in the address, right? So it would be 123 Main Street, Seattle, Washington, and whatever their zip code is. The only people who know that you don't put that in the address. But if you were to go into the Phinney Ridge area or the Wallingford area, all the locals there call it Phinney Ridge, Wallingford, Fremont, East of Market, right? So what happens is that's their worldview, okay? To draw that parallel between the pet owners who own a Husky, a Rottweiler, or a German Shepherd, right, or any breed, any size, is they have a specific worldview. In Kirkland, it's East of Market, right? So what I like to say is that most agents would want to farm all of Kirkland. A more sophisticated agent would maybe farm just downtown Kirkland or northern Kirkland, for example, right? But a super sophisticated agent, and what I did in this case when I was in the Bay Area down in San Francisco, was I marketed specific neighborhoods, and East of Market is a specific neighborhood, okay? And I'm going to show you guys something in a minute online that is just going to blow your mind about how easy you can make this. Just hang on to your boots, okay? But that's what you do is you target it down to a very specific neighborhood so you match their worldview of that local language, okay? This is so powerful for you as a real estate agent because you don't have to go big and broad anymore. Literally pick 2 to 3 really specific neighborhoods, and you'll see in a minute how this starts to work. Now, what you do next is you go to those neighborhoods or those areas and you take a landmark picture. What do I mean by a landmark picture? Every day when there's a park or there's an actual building in a park right by East of Market in Kirkland that everybody has to drive by every single day in and day out, to work, from work, wherever they're going, and they see it. Another landmark picture example would be like I grew up in a neighborhood called Pinehurst. It was a community, and you know how those communities, neighborhood communities, have an entrance and an exit, and by it they have a sign, welcome to Golden Ridge, welcome to Pinehurst, welcome to Pioneer Trails, right? Just the name of the neighborhood. That would be another example of a landmark picture, and I'm going to walk you through this, so just bear with me. Once you've picked your neighborhoods, your micro neighborhoods, okay, you would go and take a landmark picture that anybody who lives there would easily and quickly recognize, okay? And also the important thing to remember is take the picture adjusted left or right. Meaning this, if you're going to take a picture where you have that entrance sign, that welcome sign to a neighborhood, when you take a picture of it, make sure that that welcome sign is either off to the right of the picture or to the left of the picture. Don't have it in the center, and I'll explain why in just a second. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the local planning and development office, okay, for that city, for that town, whatever the planning council, the development council. And here's why. You're going to find out from them what they're planning to do over the next 6 to 12 months, over the next year, And you're going to find out in detail from them what those changes are going to be, what the plans are for that city or town. Now, I want you to understand, I used to work for an industrial contractor, and I used to interact with the city on a day-to-day basis. So I've worked with city engineer, and the reason I came up with it, was able to come up with this strategy, is because I just had that context and know-how. Now, remember, they're a public service office. So it's your taxpayer dollars at work. Their salaries covered by your taxes. They exist for the benefit of the city. So I want you to know that there's not going to be any resistance to you showing up. You go there, and what you're looking to do is you're looking to find out, just ask them, hey, I'm a local real estate agent, and I put out a monthly newsletter on what's happening in Kirkland or whatever city or town you're in that you want a microfarm specific neighborhoods in, okay? And what you say is, I put out a monthly newsletter, and I just want to find out what the plans are for the next 6 to 12 months. Here's some key words that you can use. You can ask, what's on the planning docket? What is on the planning docket? The other thing you can ask is, what projects are up for bid? Okay, what projects are up for bid? Because all city and industrial, all government-related projects have a bidding process that they have to make public. And then the third thing you can ask is, what permitting applications are under review right now? What permitting applications are under review right now? Okay. Once you get all that information, first off, they're also going to give you a lot of printed material, because the way the cities work is they have to print everything and document and put it out beforehand before anything happens. So they're going to give you a bunch of information. But you can do this over the internet, but I would so strongly suggest going in person, because once you go in person, you'll start meeting these people. You will find out which city project managers are assigned to which projects and new zoning laws or changes or planning developments, and they will become your person of contact. They have to talk to you. They have to answer your questions. You're in the public. They serve the public, okay? But what you're going to do is you're going to take all that information and you're going to condense it down into a 3 or 7 page report. Okay, you're going to basically take everything that you've learned and truncate it down to the 3, 5, 10 things that are the most notable or kind of the biggest deal that you could see being relevant to people who live in your specific target area. For the rest of this webinar, I'm going to pretend that I'm just going to talk about Kirkland just to kind of give it that context. Okay, so Kirkland is a city, East of Market is a neighborhood. Please remember that, okay? What I would do next is I would send out a mailer to everybody east of Market in that area with a landmark picture on it and an ebook graphic on it matching their worldview with an 800 number on it. Now here's what I'm talking about. You know how when you send out farming materials, it's a flyer that you send out or a postcard that you send out? The entire background of that flyer is going to be that landmark picture you took. Why is that? Here's why. When you send direct mail to people, and you guys probably can all relate to this, when we check our mail, what do we do with it? We open up our mail, right? We look at it, and there's 2 stacks, the recycle bin right away, and then the I'll get to it later bin. Your whole goal is to get into the I'll get to it later stack, okay? When it's a picture that's related very highly to them and their worldview, it helps to short-circuit auto-rejection and immediately show them that it's something highly related to them. And for whoever asked earlier, how do I get homeowners in high-end areas or my demographic to respond to me? This is how you start to do it. The reason you took the picture adjusted left or right is because on the opposite side, you're going to put in a small graphic. You're going to have that like a little ebook or a graphic designed and put on there to show them that they can get an ebook or a report. Okay, so you don't want it to block the picture or that landmark that they would easily recognize, or that would ruin the point of this. Okay, and then the title, when I say a matching worldview, you would title it something like this: 7 things City of Kirkland is planning to change in 2014 that will affect East of Market homeowners. Now, I want you to think about that if you own a home or if you live somewhere, and if you got a flyer in the mail that had a picture of a local landmark right beside your neighborhood, it was titled, 5 things Kirkland is changing that will affect East of Market homeowners' property values. You will find that this actually works better, even better in the higher end neighborhoods, because those people generally are even more interested in the value of their home. So typically marketing doesn't work with high end people This right here, if you picture the Monopoly board, the farther you go away from Go and get around to Boardwalk and Park Place, the better results you'll have. That being said, it'll work for any middle America type suburban neighborhood on upward, okay? And then you put an 800 number on there. Now, here's why. Here's what you do not do. If you do any of the following things, your results will completely plummet, and they will not work nearly. They will not work nearly as effective, okay? And I'll explain the psychology behind it in just a second. You do not put your picture on it. I know you're pretty. I know you've been working out at the gym. I know you kept your New Year's resolution, and you're looking fabulous. Do not put your picture on it. Do not put your brokerage name on it. Do not put your personal number on it. Don't put any significance-based marketing that points to you as a real estate agent on it. Why? Some of you might already be guessing this, but I'm going to be thorough for the sake of giving you 100% step-by-step proven strategies, okay? Any other agent right now who is farming them, let's go even bigger. Any other direct marketing that they're getting right now is focused on pitching them, selling them. Got it? You are going to go zig when everybody else goes zag. Or when everybody else is zigging, you're going to go zagging. Okay? There's a great book by, I forget the authors. I think it's Jack Trout and someone else, but it's called Positioning. The title of the book is Positioning. If you just go search it on Amazon, that is a must-read for anybody who wants to build a successful business, especially going forward 2014 and beyond. It's called Positioning. What you're doing is by eliminating your picture, your brokerage name off of it, and your personal number, you're short-circuiting and eliminating auto rejection. Because the way we typically send out farming material when we're as agents, and this is how I used to do it when I was an agent, I was a rookie, a greenhorn coming off the starting block. They know that they automatically know that they're being pitched something, that they're being sold something, right? You've got the face on there, you've got your smile, you've got your stats, you've got your cheesy little tagline. We offer great customer service and innovation, okay? Yeah, I get all that, but trust me, nobody cares, right? They don't care about you. We've all learned this the hard way. Our customers don't really care about us. They care about what's in it for them. So, in your mind's eye, imagine getting a flyer that either has a picture of an agent, their brokerage name, their great little nifty slogan, their personal stats, their number, and call them when you want your home sold. Or you get a flyer that has a picture of the neighborhood that you live in, welcome to, the Pinehurst sign, and it says 7 things City of Everett's changing in 2014 that will affect property values for Pinehurst community homeowners. And it has a picture of an ebook, and it says this is the call to action. Call this 800 number hotline 24/7 for a pre-recorded message to get your free report. Call 24/7 pre-recorded hotline for a recorded message and your free report. That mailer looks like a community service announcement, not like a real estate agent selling them. And so that's how you get into getting into their I'll get to it later stack. Okay? Now, I'm getting a bunch of questions from you guys and comments about Louisiana, California. I will get to that in just a second, okay? I will get to that in just a second. So bear with me here. Then what you do for the next 12 months is you just follow up with a newsletter monthly, updating them on the progress of what's happening with those 5, 6, or 7 different changes or issues. Does that make sense? So it doesn't put any pressure on you to keep coming up with new marketing. It doesn't put any pressure on you to keep coming up with new strategies. All you do is you stay in contact with your people in the city or just visit them once a month, figure out what's happening, and then you mail out a newsletter every month to everybody who called in and asked for their free report to be mailed to them. Okay? Now, the beauty of this is using this strategy, you can actually end up farming all of Kirkland if you wanted to. Because think about this. Everything that's happening, that report that you wrote is coming from one city council, right, one planning department that affects everybody in that neighborhood or everybody in that city. But what you want to do is you want to make the marketing match their worldview. So all you would do is you would change the name of the report and change the name on the flyer and send it to another neighborhood. Let's say Houghton, for example. Okay, that's another market in Kirkland. Or you could send it to Finney Ridge, Wallingford, and Fremont in Seattle. Just change the title change out Finney Ridge, Wallingford, and Fremont each time. But what happens is that you are now highly relevant to their worldview and to what's important to them, but you're using the same report. And here's another question I've gotten in previous webinars where it asks about land use issues like, well, what if there's no land use plans for that area? What if it's a super developed neighborhood? Don't get trapped into thinking that if you mail something to East of Market or Finney Ridge or Wallingford that it has to be related to just them, okay? What it can be related to is just anything in the city. For example, let me ask you this. If Kirkland is going to put in a new mall, or if Kirkland has some sort of a permitting application, which actually the city of Kirkland has an issue right now where there's a builder who has a permitting application under review to build a condo unit that is double the amount of units per acre that is currently allowed by zoning regulation. And a lot of the people are up in arms because what will happen is that's going to dump 200 additional cars in and out of one driveway at peak hours on a really busy street that gets really backed up during peak hours. So something like that will affect homeowners in East of Market, right? It's, get involved in this if you don't want to be stuck in an additional hour of traffic. If there's a new mall going in, that's going to affect the property values of people who live in East of Market or in Houghton. So I'm just saying that to you so you understand it doesn't have to be happening in East of Market or Houghton. It can be happening anywhere in Kirkland, in that general city area. You just write the report related to them. Okay? All right, now I'm going to go take questions. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. I'm going to start reading the questions I have right now. The one question I get on this all the time, and a lot of you are asking it, so I'm just going to read through a bunch of them, and then I'm going to go through it. I get stealth marketing, but in Arizona, brokerage name is required. Our laws for New Jersey require brokers' disclosure on flyers. State of California requires including a brokerage and BRE on anything you do that is real estate related. In Louisiana, we must put the broker info address. If we leave off the brokerage ID and phone number, we will not be in compliance with our license rules. How do you get around the laws requiring licensees to ID themselves and their company? Great questions. I have more coming in. Here's how I addressed that when I did this in the Bay Area. I set up an LLC. For every town or area that I was going to farm. Okay, so for example, I would set up the LLC that I would set up for Kirkland. For example, if I was in Kirkland, is Kirkland Real Estate LLC or Kirkland Community Information LLC, Kirkland Community Resources LLC. Okay, and then what I would do is on my mailers would put in the name of that LLC at the bottom. Okay, and then you can just simply put your BRE number on it right under that, and you're accomplishing the name of you're putting your business name on it, and you're putting your license name on it. The key to stay away from is putting yourself or your mug or any of your cheesy tagline on it. Okay, that's the main thing to stay away from. Is you don't have to put your face on it. You don't have to put your personal name on it. Most compliance issues are that they want to make sure that your license number is on there and that maybe your real estate business name is on there. Okay, and for most of us, we're using our brokerage name in everything we do. Well, what I did again is set up an LLC that I was practicing this through, and what my stance is that the information I'm sending out is a newsletter service provided by Kirkland Community Resources LLC. I transact my real estate business through my brokerage. And for those, and I'm getting some questions, so hopefully that answers your questions. Now I'm going to read a few more questions here. How do you get these delivered post office or door flyers? Well, you're about to see in a second. That won't work in Louisiana. If you guys have a particular question that I'm not able to answer or you think something won't work, feel free to just simply put your brokerage name on there. I would just make it the smallest script that could be allowed. So I would still put in an LLC name. I would still recommend starting an LLC that it has the name of the city and something like information resources around it. And then under that you can put RE/MAX, or you can put whatever brokerage you're from. That shouldn't hurt your open rate or your open rate too much. But again, you just don't want it to be the first thing that pops out. What I'm trying to show you guys is stay away from significance marketing, because everybody thinks, oh, if I work for RE/MAX or Keller Williams or Century 21, I'm a big brokerage. I need to show that I'm a big brokerage, right? And it's focused on ourselves. Stay away from that. Minimize that. Keep it as small as possible on your flyer. Maximize the ebook, the local landmark picture, and all that information. I don't believe there's any compliance on the fact that your BRE number has to be size 35 font, right? So just make it as small as you can and put it off towards the bottom right or towards the bottom left or right under the ebook report or even on the ebook report. It doesn't have to be an LLC. You can be doing business as, that's fine, however you would do it. Don't we need to at least, okay, I just want to make sure I'm getting to everybody's questions. Repeat what you said about who you follow up with for the next 12 months. Just people who call the 800 number or the entire neighborhood? That's a great question. I would only send the report to people who called in for it. And then I would only send those people the newsletter who called in for it, okay? What I would do is send out the same micro farming flyer 3 months after my first one. Because here's what happens, and you'll see this in a second when I get into 201 and 301, but some people won't call in off that flyer till 2-3 weeks after you mail it because it just went into their get to it later stack. You see what I'm saying? So don't mail out another micro farming flyer a month later. Send out your next one 3 months later. I would only send out one this week, one 3 months later, and then maybe I would send out one 6 months later. Okay, just kind of capture any new people that moved in or out. But the key here is you only want to be following up with the people who opted in for the report. Now here is where you start branding yourself. When you send out that micro report and the monthly newsletters, that's when you put a picture of yourself at the end, your business, your real estate. And here's what you're doing with this process is you are establishing yourself as a very strong authority and expert on that area. You become the go-to real estate expert because you're the one that's actually informing them of things that they don't know, or maybe that they're not learning easily. The other thing too is when you create that contact person in the city, instead of getting it off the website, what you end up having is this awesome opportunity to get some of the gossip or the scoop or the dirt in terms of what's happening in the city, and then taking that and including that in your report. So you can literally write really cool stuff like my source inside the city says, all right, or sources close to the project say, or here's what's going on. So it really becomes this cool element of you actually have something unique to say. You're not just noise, you're a signal. You're actually guiding these homeowners. You're providing value to them. And I'm telling you, unless their best friend is a real estate agent, you will be the first real estate agent they think of contacting. How do you tie newsletter back to your real estate business if not using name? Well, I think I just answered that question. Is the micro report, on the micro report, you actually put your name when you mail it out, and at the end of it, you include pictures, you include everything about yourself and your business, and then every monthly newsletter you send out, you're branding yourself. Because at that point, they've already opted in for the information, and as long as the information is truly valuable and truly unique to them and their neighborhood and their city, then you've got a shoe and you're fine. At that point, they'll appreciate the branding because they might even actually build up a little bit more trust for you. Plus, when it comes to the concepts of remarkability and referability, you become a remarkable agent, right? Because how many agents are actually doing this? So very interesting. I at one point had a lady call me and ask me, she goes, I'm not ready to list right now, but do you by any chance list homes in this other neighborhood? I was targeting Dublin, Livermore, Pleasanton. Those were the areas east of San Francisco that I was targeting when I was doing this strategy. And I'm like, yeah, of course I'll take a listing in Dublin, right? So I mean, but for these agents, because the way you do this marketing, they think that you just focus on, for these people, they think you just focus on their neighborhood or their city. But you become such an incredible expert to them, and you put so much value forward to them that they actually like hearing from you, okay, which is just so much different to have a business where people like hearing from you. Now, I had a question earlier about how do you actually target, and I'm going to show you guys something right now that will blow your socks off. So please confirm with me that you guys see my computer screen and the fact that I went to Google. I want to make sure that I'm not moving too fast and that you guys can see it just fine. Okay, perfect. Do this. Remember this. Go to Google and type in U.S. Postal Service direct mail. I am surprised at how so few people know about this, but this right here ought to make the whole webinar worth it, okay? U.S. Postal Service direct mail. You can click on the first link or the third link down. What you're looking for is EDDM. Why? Check this out. When the U.S. Post Office started having issues with their finances, these guys got in the direct marketing business, okay? This is how they're helping themselves to stay afloat. It's called Every Door Direct Mail. And this is amazing for us as solopreneurs. So let me show you what I can do with Kirkland, Washington, all right? I type that in. It's processing. How many of you guys have heard of this before? Just let me know. Have you heard this before? Have you heard of this service before? Just type it in and let me know. I'd be curious to know. I'm getting a couple of yeses, but mostly no's. No, 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 yes, 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 no, 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 yes, no, yes, thought it was a joke, yes, but didn't know how to use it, yes, I use it, no, 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 yes, 10 cents a door. Okay, got it. Well, here is how I use this, okay? Because when I talk about micro farming, it makes perfect sense now. So I'm in Kirkland, and this area that I just highlighted is east of Market. Now, technically, I want you to pay attention to the map. Technically, this road right here, where you see Juanita Bay Park right up there at the top of the map and Waverly Park at the bottom, all of that in between is east of Market. So what you're doing is, by the way, that landmark picture would be in Waverly Park. But what I do is I would just simply select, what it does is it selects routes for you by the post office, how the post office does it. So the routes that the actual mailman has. And what you do is I would just select this area. It's not quite all of east of Market, but most of it. And it will literally cost me only $69.28 to have it delivered to all 422 homes. By the way, east of Market is $1 million plus homes because it's right on Lake Washington. Okay? So what you do is you just simply create your postcard flyers that you already have. You can buy this online or just reserve it and then go to the local post office in Kirkland, whatever your city is, and then pay them there. And then they they deliver this to all those areas. So you can then come up with micro mailers for then, right on the water in Kirkland, kind of up by, this is where the police station is in Kirkland, kind of the back west of Market. So everything right here is west of Market. So you could target west of Market and east of Market, all by just sending it right here through Every Door direct mail. It literally comes out, and I think the person was right, it literally comes out to like 10 cents to 20 cents a door. There are so many webinars. Okay, so I hope you guys are getting this. I hope you guys are getting the power of this. I'm getting a lot of questions. I'm going to answer 2 to 3 more, and then I'm going to jump into Micro Farming 201. Where we're going to really build on this. You're going to start to see some crazy things pop up right before your eyes in terms of how well this can work. But again, just Google U.S. Postal Service direct mail. This service right here, you can set up a free account. You have to be using this. This is so amazing for repeatedly delivering. I don't like dealing with title companies personally. I'm not going to get into that because I don't have time. But I had issues dealing with title companies, so I was like, forget it. I'm just going to do my marketing on my own. Okay, a couple of questions I have here. How do you get around blockbusting? If the projects will lessen the value, it may look as though you were trying to scare them into selling. Great question. It does not look like you're trying to scare them into selling if you're simply reporting what is, who's involved, what they're doing, and then give them, here's the key, tell them what they can do next to go to the city council and vote or have their voice heard. Give them the name and the email address of the person assigned to their part of the city who's their council member. So don't be worried about scaring them. Be concerned with giving them information that is super relevant to them and then telling them what they can do next to take action on it. Don't be the person trying to decide for them. Just review the facts. Be very neutral. Like with that builder in Kirkland, see, here's east of Market that you guys are looking at, and then right farther down, right on this entire road is where on the water is where he wants to put in this new condo development that's going to double the amount of units per acre. okay? So what happens is if you type that up, it still affects east of market homeowners because, look, they got to drive through that every day, especially when they want to get on our main 520 bridge to head over to Seattle. So it's not that you're trying to scare them, it's that you're just trying to inform them, okay? And that's what you're playing. You're playing an informative, neutral reporter. How do you avoid apartments and businesses? Well, for example, right here, great question. Right here on the website, you can put business and residential or residential only. Do you see where I clicked that right there up there? You can do residential only, so it only goes to residential. The way you avoid apartments is when you keep it this small to just the route of a postman, you can tell if there's apartment doors in there or not, and just don't mail anywhere that there's apartments. Okay, so hopefully that answers that question. Hi, I don't think Canada deals like that. Well, I haven't thought about Canada, so I'll see if I can find something about that. There's so many webinars. I missed your webinar notice. Will there be a replay? I don't think we're going to be sending out a replay link of this one, though we might be holding an encore session next week where we'll just redo this entire webinar. It's about 16 cents a piece for EDDM. Yeah, that's what it comes to, is about 16 cents to 10 cents to 20 cents. Fear works, though. Sure, fear works, though, if you want to build your business based upon that. I'm more about focus on creating a relationship. Canada does have postal walks and should be able to source that info. Awesome, perfect. Yeah, I mean, I'm not an authority on Canada. If I don't know something, I'm not going to pretend that I do. So hopefully you just figure it out for your area. We're getting some more comments. EDDM is extremely easy to use, 16 cents per HH plus cost of card. Your audience could figure it out if they go to the site. Okay, perfect. Well, awesome for that. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next part of the actual webinar. Okay. So that was Microfarming 101, and that's how you can deliver those mailers. And that was me answering questions. All right, moving on to 201. I'm going to crush through this because I really want to get to 301. For the sake of brevity, I'm just going to literally go through this point by point. Okay. Microfarming 201. You've already done 101. You've sent out your direct mailers. Here's what you do next. Go to your local community pin board areas. Coffee shops, churches, community center, library. Every Starbucks has that. You know how you walk into a Starbucks and right above the area where you can add sugar to your coffee, get a little stir stick, they always have a community pin board above them? What you're doing, providing a community newsletter, is not real estate marketing. So you ought to be able to get 9 out of 10 places or 8 out of 10 places to let you put up that same flyer on there, or an 8.5 by 11 poster. Okay, I would even take it farther and try to target boutique stores, and if you're comfortable with it and if your legal compliance is okay, do bandit signs. The key here is think in terms of guerrilla tactics. Here's why. The person, if they got it in their mailer, if the homeowner in East of Market got in their mailer, right, the flyer, they put in the to-do in the get to it later stack, and then they drive down into Kirkland and they go to a coffee shop and they see the exact same thing there, what you're going to start affecting is a be everywhere effect, which is exactly what you want to do. You want to be everywhere, okay? You can go to all the local coffee shops. Again, churches sometimes will let you do this too because they have community boards. Go to a local community center, library, put it everywhere that you can in that area offline, right? Just wherever their life might naturally lead them so they can see it there. And what happens, and don't have time to get into neuromarketing and how wiring works in the brain, but when you can create multiple instances of where that person comes into contact with your marketing and your value proposition, it increases the likelihood that they are going to reach out to you. And if you can have a variety of the places they come into contact with your marketing, it furthermore increases the likelihood they will reach out to you. So if it's not just direct mail, but it's direct mail and it's also in their, in their local coffee shop, and they might be at the library, it might be a Starbucks and then a local coffee shop, right? They see it in many different places. It subconsciously and subliminally increases the trust for that content and that value proposition. I have a note up there that says free giveaway boxes example. That's not something for you guys to do. This is just an example to share with you. I'm in a few different marketing masterminds where we get to share a lot of different strategies. And one of the guys in a mastermind that I was in has a website design business. Now, I kid you not, this guy's entire marketing platform, his entire lead generation platform was this. He mapped out a 50-box route, 50 different local businesses, coffee shops, and stores that will let him put up a box, one of those like little bowls where, you know how it says, drop off your business card for a free giveaway, and it would be some sort of a prize giveaway? And we all probably think that that doesn't work, okay? Well, what this guy did was he started off with 50 boxes because he had no money. He would only generate about 1 to 2 leads per box per month. Literally, it was that poor of a result. And again, remember what I told you about crappy results but still hitting your target goal. I hope you see with Microfarming 101 already how that would be possible. But what he did was that he would get 1 to 2 leads per fishbowl or per box, and he would just follow up with all of them, and he would say, hey, you didn't win the first prize, but the second place prize is that you get a 30-minute free audit of your website for your business, where I'll give you your next 3 steps you need to do for free in terms of improving your website. That right there got him so many appointments that it's not even funny. And then what he did is over the next 3 to 6 months from when he started that, he grew that route to just literally 100 boxes. Now, I don't think at that point he was doing all the boxes himself. He had an assistant running it for them. But imagine something so high tech as a web design business running off of something so like, let's face it, right? None of us would pick this as the first strategy to go after, right? Because we would think it would work so poorly. And of course, every individual place does. But the concept that I'm showing you guys is get it into as many places as you can, and you'll be fine. Because what will happen is that if you just generate crappy results per location, combined net effect at the end of the month, it's going to be a massive amount of results. Right here is the law of massive numbers at work for you, okay? So if you don't have budget, but you got massive hustle, and you've got a little bit of determination and work ethic, just like I did when I was starving, living in a sleeping bag under my desk. This is what I did, and it worked, okay? You just got to get out there and just put your marketing out there. Now, very important. I would very much recommend that you make the actual flyer that you put up in the community centers and coffee shops 8.5 by 11, so a bigger version of your postcard. And make sure it's nicely designed. In this day and age, design is vital. And the reason for that is because on that report, on the flyer, you can think about this. Remember when I told you can repurpose the same report for multiple neighborhoods in Kirkland or in Seattle? Well, on the 8.5 by 11 flyer, what if somebody walked in from Houghton community into the same Starbucks as from the east of Market, right? Well, on the 8.5 by 11 flyer, you would simply say, you would say 7 things that Kirkland is planning for 2014 that affects property owners in, and then you would list it east of Market, west of Market, Houghton, and at the end of each one of those neighborhood names, because you're using an 800 number service off your flyer, you would just put in a unique extension for them to call in and dial in that's related to their neighborhood. Again, it's the same report, it's the same content, just like it's the exact same dog nutrition product, but it's specifically for people that own a Husky, a Rottweiler, or a German Shepherd. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope it's sinking in. I've got to keep moving fast because I've got a lot more meat and potatoes to get through in the next 30 minutes. So what you're going to do is you're going to still maintain the integrity of your marketing in terms of marketing to them and their unique worldview if 2 or 3 people happen to come in from the different neighborhoods that you're microfarming into the same coffee shop. This is why you want to pick 3 neighborhoods all kind of relatively close to each other or in kind of the same area so you can create that net cross effect in the same coffee shop, Starbucks, libraries, community centers, whatever it may be. Furthermore, if you have a couple of $100 extra bucks, call your hyper-local papers. These are typically the free papers, and put in quarter-page to full-page ads that are the same that are basically a copy of the flyer or of the 8.5 by 11 page. Now think about this in terms of net effect. The person got a mailer from you, a micro mailer. They might have seen your signage at Starbucks, and then when they opened their local paper, they could see an ad from you there. Do you see how you're starting to create a net be everywhere effect? You're starting to take over, you're starting to really show up in a lot of different areas in their life. Now, this is the end of section 201. So if you have any questions, ask them right now because the section 301 is going to take a lot of time to get through, or at least I want to make sure I cover a lot of things. So if you have any questions about this, please ask me right now, because I just want to rapidly move on to 301, and that's going to really paint the picture of how 101, 201, and 301 come together. What kind of cardstock do you like? I personally like stuff that's not too glossy or slick, a little bit more flat, matte finish. It just tends to look a little bit more like a community service thing versus like slick marketing. Thanks for moving on. Yeah, you're welcome. Sell in black areas. I don't know what black areas means. Sell in black areas like dark areas or areas that don't have mailers. I don't know what you mean by that, so maybe please identify the question better. Retargeting marketing. Yeah, that's exactly what that is retargeting marketing. And the net effect, though, there is that you're not just retargeting them through mailer again and again and again, right? You're retargeting them through different points in their life, which is, again, I don't have time to get into how the brain is wired and talk about just the neuroscience of it, but that is a much more effective way of retargeting, is to hit them in as many places as possible. Are we posting the same content as the postcard mailer? Yes, you are, except in these local places, you're listing out each neighborhood and then giving its unique 3 or 4 digit extension depending on what 800 number service you're using. That's why you don't use your personal number, but use an 800 number service, because for every neighborhood you can create its own unique extension that they call in, right? And then when they're calling you, and if they leave a voicemail, you know what neighborhood they were already calling in off of. Do you put up several flyers on the community board so that people can take one, or have one with pull-off phone numbers? You know what? That's actually really interesting. I never even did either. I just put it up and said, call now. I mean, I don't know, maybe if I even hurt myself. I would try, if the coffee shop owner is cool with it, I would try putting up several flyers, because you could put one up on the board and then maybe put a bunch in like a little like flyer holder. I would say just try it, test. I mean, my philosophy in marketing is test everything and fail faster, and then whatever works, use that repeatedly. It's very interesting. I actually never even thought of doing the pull tabs. I mean, I've seen it, but I just put up a flyer just on the wall and just let it be and let it work like that. My whole strategy with it was not even necessarily that they would call me right there in the coffee shop, but that it would trigger them to remember the flyer they have in their kitchen, because it's going to be the exact same design, the exact same, bright color, whatever it might be, the exact same photos. If it's going to be a general mailer, a general community piece, you might take a picture of just the town or like a main street in the city so they can relate to everybody, versus just like one of those welcome landmark pictures next to East of Market or Houghton. But you would do it that way for the mailers that you put up there. Or you could take a background and merge all 4 pictures, for example, of East of Market, Houghton, maybe 2 or 3 other neighborhoods, and have that be the background with the 4-digit extension over each picture. So there's a lot of different ways you can play around with the design. I don't want to get bogged down in the details of that. If you have any more questions about that, save them till the end of the webinar. I'll go ahead and get to that at the end of I'll go ahead and answer a lot of those types of questions at the end of the webinar, okay? So I'm going to now go ahead and move on to Microfarming 301, which is actually going to be going online, and you're going to see how you can actually get into their world in a whole different way. Microfarming 301. It's all about Facebook. Now, before you guys roll your eyes or wonder, yeah, freaking social media, here we go again. What you're about to see, I'm about to show you 6 very specific things that you may have probably never seen about Facebook anymore. But what I'm going to specifically do also is show you how, coupled with what you're doing with 101 and with 201, you're going to produce crazy massive results in terms of retargeting and social trust and proof. Because here's something I haven't mentioned yet before. The most important word in marketing today is trust. You have to create trust. You have to create trust in the fact that you're putting them first. You're not trying to pitch them or sell them on something they don't want. And I'm about to show you step by step how you can finally actually use something on social media that isn't a complete waste of time and money. Because believe you me, when I was going through webinars and training and buying tools and all sorts of little shiny objects on using social media as a realtor back in the day, 5-6 years ago, none of that stuff worked for me long-term to produce business, right? Business is all about the core concepts, right? FaceTime, conversations, farming, prospecting, referrals. It's all about the basic principles. So that's why I'm focusing on micro-farming as a version of a principle. But what I found is adding this strategy I'm about to share with you just massively amplifies the effect of micro-farming. And that's the whole point here, is that coupled with offline marketing, Facebook then can become extremely powerful for local marketing. But there are a series of nuances to using Facebook that so few understand, and why most people lose big or just don't have anything pan out with social media. So I'm about to go online and show you the 6 things you need to know about Facebook that couple it with Microfarming 101 and 201. This becomes just your 800 horsepower engine that's going to be running your marketing for you, okay? I'm going to specifically show you a concept called Power Editor. I'm going to show you page creation, post publishing. I'm going to talk about page creation. I'm going to show you post publishing, ad building, promoting it, and then the demographics optimization. And that literally will all cost you probably less than $20 a week or a month, or however you want to run it. But what you're about to see is going to completely give you a different perspective on Facebook, and then I'll open it up for questions at the end. So first thing I want to talk about is Power Editor. Power Editor is a Google Chrome extension. So remember that it only works in Google Chrome. If you don't have Google Chrome, it's free. Download it, but you need to have Google Chrome for this to work. Okay? Now, with Google Chrome installed, this will work inside Facebook. Okay, but you need to be logged into Facebook to have it working. So I'm actually going to go to my home here on Facebook. And where you find, what you would do is you would click on Ads Manager, okay, right there on the left. If you don't have that already, then what you would do is you would type in facebook.com/ads/manage, okay? And that would take you to the same place, which is that feature right there. Now I'm just going to go back here, just click on Ads Manager. And that's going to pull up a typical dashboard. These are some campaigns I have running right now, so you guys can see I'm pretty active with some of my marketing. And what you're looking for is you're actually looking for Power Editor, which is right here on the left. If you can see where I'm clicking on it, it's right here on the left, second up from Audiences. All of your Facebook marketing should from now on be completely run through only Facebook, through Power Editor. And here's why, okay? Power Editor allows you to do things that typical Ads Manager in Facebook doesn't allow you to do. Facebook just rolled this out about 4 or 5 months ago. I've been in with a couple of marketing masterminds that were related to Facebook when I was in the Bay Area. So that's how I got to get my hands on this information, learn it, and I'm able to relay it to you guys, okay? So what you need to see is that Power Editor, over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how Power Editor can allow you to do things that just Facebook Ads Manager cannot do. If you don't have experience with typical Ads Manager, don't worry about it. I'm just going to walk through this step by step, and I'll get to questions at the end. So now that you guys know about Power Editor, because I'm assuming many of you have a Facebook, if you don't, set one up. The next thing you're going to have to do is do a page creation. Set up a page for yourself. Now here is where I am going to show you how to freaking do social media marketing in a way to where people actually want to hear from you, not be that cheesy agent who publishes things on your Facebook about, that month's banana bread recipe. Because you know what? Newsflash, we all know that you didn't actually come up with that banana bread recipe. And I hated that when I was a real estate agent because I wanted to do social media. I wanted to create all these, different sources of referrals and income and clients and prospects, like we all do, online leads. But when you're just cheesy, and let's say somebody's friends with 3 or 4 agents or loan officers, and they all are subscribed to the same newsletter service, and everything pops up on your newsfeed at the same time, that's just a joke, okay? So Power Editor, I need to get through this really fast. Power Editor, remember that, Google Chrome. To set up a Facebook page, I'm just going to show you what you can type in. Go to facebook.com/pages. Okay, very, very simple. And then what you do is right up here, you would type in create page. Or not type, but click. Okay. Now, here's the kind of thing that you want to create, what kind of page you want to create. You don't want to create a local business or place. You want to create cause or community. Because you are not a brand or a product, you're not a local business or place, you don't want people to think it's that on Facebook. Because again, if you're truly doing this the way it's supposed to be done, you're going to be providing them a monthly newsletter and services related, information update services related to their neighborhood, to their community. You're a community service, okay? Then what you do is you would name it something. Again, something like Kirkland Community Information. And the reason also, if you do it as a cause or community page, you don't have to be a licensed or like an employee representative of that, right? If it's a local business or company organization or a brand product, you have to confirm that you're a representative of that. And if you use that for your brokerage, like Remax, well, now you're going to run into compliance issues. But if it's just a community page for Kirkland where you're going to update with your monthly newsletter, that's not a compliance issue because you're not marketing this as a representative of Remax, and you're going to have your BRE number and all that on there in terms of your marketing, okay? But it's this simple. You get started. You would add a description, which could be something really simple as, just Kirkland community information. I'm not going to get into it right now because I don't have time. If you have a website included, if not, I would include something like Twitter or whatever else you might have, or your website link. And then just, again, move on to, you would move on to the next page. You're required to add a description. Okay. Kirkland community information. Is Kirkland Community Information a real organization, cause, or event? Yes, it's a real organization. Will Kirkland Community Information be the authorized and official representation of this organization, cause, or event? Yes, you will be. The key is you don't have to establish that you are an employee or an official representative of a company or brand. That's the key part. You don't want to misinform the audience, and you don't want to be misrepresenting your brokerage if you don't have that authority. You would upload a picture. I would typically upload a community-related picture, something like in Kirkland, there's Main Street, anyone who recognizes it. If it's Seattle, right, there's so many pictures in Seattle you could take. Find a picture that anybody would recognize of the whole city. Now, on this picture, you don't put up a picture of the local neighborhood that you're microfarming. You put up a local picture that anybody would recognize from that city or town, okay? Skip favorites here. You don't need to worry about that. Okay, that is setting up a page. Now, next, I'm going to show you something incredibly, incredibly powerful, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to create a post. I'm just going to show you how to create a really simple post. Learn 7 things that city of Kirkland is planning for 2014 affecting property prices and homeowners. Free report. Okay, that's how you typically create a post. You could then upload a photo or a video. So I can just go and find a photo. Let's see, I could just come up with any sort of photo. It doesn't matter what it is. Put that in and click post. Okay. So see that, and then what I forgot to do there is you can put in a link, right? So you can type in a link. Let me actually just redo that for you guys, just to show you how you really specifically. So you type that in, then you could put in a link, which could be anywhere you want it to go. But it would be typically to a landing page where you have the report set up. So just get a landing page service, put up a landing page for that report to be downloaded. Then you can add a photo video, choose file, post. Got it? And then if anybody clicks on that link, then voila, it takes them to that landing page, okay? Now, what you're going to do is once you set up that post, you're going to only run your ads for that local community as promoted posts. You're not going to actually create ads in Facebook that are popping up on the side. And you're going to do them in Power Editor. That's the key. Now remember also this, Power Editor is a little buggy. So sometimes you have little glitches and issues with it. They're fixing it as fast as they can. So you just posted that post on Kirkland Community Information. So here's what you do. When you go back to Power Editor, you click download. You have to click download every time so that it uploads everything into the Power Editor, because it actually has to pull from Facebook, and it automatically already uploads all your accounts in there. But it has to upload that so that you can see, so that because Power Editor is actually a Google Chrome extension. So it is Facebook, but it's like an extension of Facebook that's a little bit different, okay? Which is why it's a little buggy, but they're working on it fast to improve it. Now give it just a second here. It always takes a minute to do this because this is pulling a massive amount of data, especially for me. I've got a lot of pages. Okay, so then what you would do is you would click on, and I've already got campaigns running, but what you can do is you would click campaigns. you could create a new campaign, call it Kirkland or whatever, Kirkland community or whatever neighborhood you want to have it on. I typically start my ads up, my budget's off at $100 a day, but for you, literally, you could put it at something as low as $10 a day just to start it for the first week, okay? If that makes sense. Then what you do is you go to ads, okay, and you select Kirkland community. And then, and again, it's a little slow. It takes a while for things to typically load up. Give me just a second here. It's being a little buggy right now, actually, as we speak. So I'm happy this is happening because if anything goes wrong, I can point it out to you guys. Oh, that's right, because I actually just accidentally renamed an existing campaign, which I did not mean to do. Very cool. So again, you got to pay attention to the details here. So create a campaign. I just went and renamed a campaign. So again, you wouldn't have this issue if you don't already have this running, if you already don't have multiple campaigns running. Set the budget at $10 a day. I'm not going to get into the issues of like so if you want to start, I would just do mine ongoing and then you could go in there and turn it off anytime. Then go to ads. And here's where you're going to see some crazy wizardry with what you can do. Create an ad. Click on create an ad, and I would call it, you know, something you'd recognize, Kirkland report, Kirkland micro report. And what you would do next is you would basically look at you would select whichever one of these that you want. I like to do page post engagement because again, you're only messaging it by page post, so you need to have this page post set up already, okay? Then what you do is you would make sure that the first one is selected for Facebook page using a post. Got it? Right here, it's going to give you the different pages that you have. I see I've got a few different pages running here. Go and select the page that you just set up, Kirkland Community Information. Okay? Now, what it's going to do is it's going to pull up all the posts that you have, and of course, it already puts up the one that you already created. Okay? That's the post and what it looks like, and you would obviously have a picture. What you do next, and this is so vitally important, is you don't want all Facebook. You want newsfeed only, but you want newsfeed desktop and mobile. This is so critical, so important. You want desktop and mobile, okay? This is where the power of Facebook Editor, Power Editor comes in. You want it to be on all mobile devices. Next, you're going to go to your audience selection. You're going to type in, and it gives you where you can type, places that you can select. What you want is you don't want all of the United States. You only want, you can do by city or by zip code. So you can just do Kirkland, Washington, United States, and then plus or minus 25-mile range, right? And you can see that. You can do just Kirkland itself, plus 10 miles outside of Kirkland, plus 25 miles, plus 50. I would say just do exactly that neighborhood. That's how exactly that city, or no more than 10 miles out, okay? Because it might fudge a little bit here and there. But personally, just to start this off, I would say just Kirkland, just keep it targeted, okay? You can leave at any age you want, or target somebody that you know might typically be more likely a homeowner. So maybe, let's say, start 30 and then up to any age or whatever the max is, so 64, for example, okay? That narrowed it down to 22,000 people. Again, you're thinking small to go big. You want both men and women, okay? And then all you're doing is, instead of getting to specific likes, that's not the point here, because the ad that you just created should have a picture. It'll have the same picture that you have on the flyer, okay? So I just put up the 74% rule photo. But I want you to remember that you're going to have this. You're going to use the same picture of the flyer the micro mailer that you sent out, or the same community pinup that you're using in the coffee shops, and maybe in the local newspaper that you're running, where it's a variation but lists all the different neighborhood names. You go to optimization and pricing. I usually do cost per click, but that being because I've got some advanced strategies around that. But for newbies, use optimized CPM, and just use default bids, which is recommended right now. Okay, which is in the bid on it right now, it recommends. I mean, it's so low; it's 21 cents to 52 cents. So even with a $10 budget, you can do pretty well. And what it's going to do is it's going to then start to manually optimize. It's going to automatically start to optimize to make sure that you're getting the most out of your clicks and the most out of your loads. And then what you do is when you're done, and I'm not going to load it up this campaign because I don't want to actually do it, but all you do is you would click upload right here in the upper right, and it goes live. And then if you ever wanted to stop it, you would just come back in and just click. This drop-down box would become right here where it's pending right now. It would become active, but then you could come in and click pause, click upload again, and finish it. That, and then what happens is that this ad would run for people as a message in their news feed, which I'm sure you guys have been seeing. Let me see if I can find it here on my Facebook. Just somebody marketing to me. I just saw actually a few this morning when I logged into Facebook. Nope, that's not exactly that. I'll find something here in just a second. I know I saw something this morning. Here we go, Pimsleur approach. Okay, so they got a little bit of content, their photo. This is a different way of setting up that post than what I showed you. But again, you can like the page, or you can like their comment, or you can comment on it, or you can click on it. This is exactly what your audience is going to be seeing. Not exactly this. This is a slightly different way of setting up that post. I don't have time to get into how to set up this kind of post, but in future webinars, what I'm going to do when I do one on just web marketing alone, I'm going to show you how to do additional strategies with Facebook, with LinkedIn, with websites, and that's where I'm going to get into like the 4 or 5 different ways of creating posts and sharing them. But what I shared with you, just setting up a post on your page like this with a link and a picture that matches your marketing, with your micro mailer or your coffee shop pinup or community pinup is enough for now, okay? And then they'll either like your page, or they'll just click on your link that you have right here, and it'll take them to your download page for the free report, whatever it may be, wherever you're sending them, okay? That is how that works with Facebook. Now, what I want to point out to you kind of in wrapping this all up is that what this does is that it literally gives you a be everywhere effect for about less than $350 a month, and you generate real leads from people that you really want to be working with and interacting, okay? I mean, you cannot beat this in terms of just being everywhere. So you're in their mail, you're in their coffee shops, you're in the newspaper, and you're on their Facebook. And 80% of, for example, our traffic right now on my Facebook fan pages is coming off of mobile. That's why you want to be using that Power Editor, and you want to be using mobile traffic, because what will happen is that so many people will see you on the phone. Now imagine I'm on Facebook in the coffee shop, okay? I just saw that I got the mailer a week ago. I see the thing on the board, and then as I'm scrolling through my phone on Facebook on my coffee shop, I see the exact same thing pop up, okay? Again, I'm not going to go into the details now about neurowiring, but you should be seeing how powerful that can be. Now, how to maximize all this? Make sure that you have an 800 number service on this, because again, it's all about an 800 number message service that you can use pre-recorded messages with, because that's what helps you short circuit auto rejection, actually get them to dial in, because they're not afraid of talking to a person. If you're going to, when you go looking for an 800 number service, make sure that it gives you multiple extensions, okay, because you're going to have multiple extensions for each neighborhood. Make sure that you can track by source. Make sure that your 800 number service has source tracking, so you can assign a different digit for different kinds of marketing. So you want to know not have extensions by neighborhood, but you want to be able to assign you want to be able to track by calls from the newspaper, calls from coffee shops, calls from church, calls from the mailer, calls from Facebook. Okay, or in terms of Facebook, in the Facebook's example, that might be just downloading the report itself. Okay. But either way, you want to be able to track by source. You also want to make sure that it tracks every call in the back end. So make sure they have some sort of a software management system on the back end that will measure, that will call capture, that will measure the length of calls, volume, what days typically you get the most calls, what time of the day, because all this stuff can go into your marketing in terms of when you go forward. And also make sure they offer voice routing. So what happens a lot of times when you leave a pre-recorded message, the only option that an 800 number service might give you is telling those people to leave a message. A little bit better than that is to click 0, and it'll connect them to you. It's called a live transfer. But what you want is you want the next generation of 800 number services. You want to be able to have voice routing. So look for a service that gives you voice routing, because what it'll say is when you finish your pre-recorded message on there, the computer comes on and says, click or say yes if you want your free report mailed to you. They say yes. A much easier, a much more frictionless process than clicking 0, because everybody knows about the operator. And then what happens is it auto connects to you. And what you want off of this is real connection, real conversations, because when you pick up, first off, they're surprised. Second off, they never hang up, because they're just calling about a report. And you don't pitch them as a real estate agent. You just ask them what report they're calling about, and then you start talking with them. Well, what got you interested in calling about the report? Are you planning to move? What's going on? And then what you'll find is they'll ask you a lot of questions about, where'd you get this information? How are you getting it, etc. And you get to have a great 8, 10, 15-minute conversation with a potential prospect, and the only way you're ending it is by promising to follow up by sending them the micro report, and that you're going to be sending them a monthly update via newsletter. That's it. And what happens, you start building up this very big database and passive list of highly targeted listing leads, and we have agents that use a very dumbed down version of this with just classified ads, period, not even the micro farming, not anything like that. You do this for about 6 months plus, just so you can you can actually start generating opt-ins on your list. And then every month when you send out the newsletter, and at the end of the newsletter, you're saying if you're planning to list or sell or whatever your call to action is, I hope you please give me a chance for a listing presentation, or call me first, and I can give you specific data or a specific report on selling homes in Kirkland. You're going to start generating what we all call pocket listings, because no other agents know about that, because you're the first agent that they would think of, because you're the first agent they've actually talked to. And that's what's key there, is creating live conversations. We all know the stat, right? 85 to 90% of people start their home search for selling or buying online, but 3 out of 4 transactions close with the first agent that a person talks to. So literally 74% of transactions close with the first agent that a person talks to. So you want to be that first agent that they talk to and work with. So now going next, here I'm going to get to questions in just a second. Your quick start guide, and then I'm going to answer questions. I got some questions popping up, but I want to make sure that I get through this. So out of respect for everybody who's still on, because we are literally at 90 minutes, and it'll take me about another 3 minutes or 5 minutes to finish this up, okay? So quick start guide. Pick your 3, and then I'll get to all your guys' questions for whoever wants to stick around. Pick your 3 target neighborhoods that share some common community for that offline effect, right? Again, kind of like Kirkland. In Kirkland, I would pick east of Market, west of Market, Houghton, those areas, because then I can the library, the community centers, the churches are all the same. Take landmark pictures. Visit your city council and planning department and get in the know on what's happening. Map out your community route. So again, that's where you're going to put up your community flyers. Map that out. And then wait for the marketing assets. Now, what do I mean by that? And we'll give you a quick start webinar then. That is the surprise bonus gift that I was talking about. Here's what we're doing. We are designing and giving away the postcard micro farming mailer design. So the actual micro farming mailer that you would send out, all you would have to do is put your picture on it, but we'll help you by already creating a little graphic for the ebook that you can then just interchange the title out on, or just give to a designer and say, hey, copy this, just change the title. So we're going to design that for you guys. The micro report design itself is going to be pre-designed. So the ebook, the micro report, the 3 to 7 page report, we're actually going to pre-design that with a few different color options, and it's going to be scalable. So we're literally going to we're just going to create sections in the Word document that's going to say enter a data point here, say this here. So literally, even if you're not a writer, you can have a 3 to 7 page report done in a space of a few hours. And it's going to be, again, scalable. So if you want to expand it to 15 pages, shrink it to 2 pages, you'll be able to do it like that. We're going to be designing that and giving that away to you guys. We're going to create a design for the follow-up monthly newsletter that you would send out once a month. That's just going to be the same design over and over again, but it's going to help you to know how to position your picture and everything on there. We're going to be using a little bit of the FSBO template there, in terms of how to position your team, your own marketing, so that every month when you send them out the newsletter, you're also able to market and brand your business. And then the community pin board design, the 8.5 by 11 pager, we're going to create that for you guys. All you have to do to get that is just email me. We just started doing this. This isn't ready yet, but I know that from the few agents I've talked to, I got the feedback that you guys would love to have this. So it'll take us about 1 to 2 weeks to finish it and deliver it. But just email me that you want it, and then know that it's going to take 1 to 2 weeks for us to finish that all up and email it to you guys. But I will get it to you. The first people to email me, though, who want it, then I will send it to you guys. All we ask in return is for a little Facebook love, okay? I'm really lonely out there on the Facebook world. It's all high tech. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a little post right now about about what we've talked about today. And then what I'd love for you to do is come find us on Facebook. We're facebook.com/ProQuest Technologies. Like us, and then just leave me some feedback about what you thought about this webinar. A lot of what I do here is based, again, like you saw in the beginning of the webinar, based upon feedback from you guys. So, I mean, I'm literally creating these webinars based off feedback. Like last webinar, we had an agent who talked to me about web marketing. So now I'm planning a whole web marketing webinar. So it's just, again, anything you guys want to hear about, let me know. If you thought good things about this webinar, let me know. Bad things, let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback. Love for a little love on Facebook. Giving away the farm. Pun intended there. Giving away the farm on micro farming. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying this. Let me see here. Maybe I can add some sort of a photo. So you guys can easily recognize it. All right, here's a fun one. This was, I was on the dock at one point here in Kirkland. I was coming up with one of our webinars, and I was having a little tea on the dock. So go find that post on our post, and just leave me a comment, again, letting me know what you thought about the microfarming webinar. I would love some feedback from you guys. Again, that's facebook.com/ProQuest Technologies, okay? And then when you shoot me an email for the for the giveaway, which is basically the entire microfarming toolkit, plug and play, we're giving it away absolutely for free, no strings attached. Just let me know, and I'll use it on the trust system. Just when you email me, say, hey, I showed you some Facebook love. Would love to get that microfarming toolkit when it's done. I'll take you at your word for it on our system, and we'll send it over to you. My email is andre@proquesttechnologies.com. Okay, andre@proquesttechnologies.com. So I'm going to leave that up for a minute so that anybody who wants to get that email to them, just email me there, andre@proquesttechnologies.com. And then for those of you who, again, there's nothing for sale here. If you remember earlier when I talked about the 800 number system, that you want to make sure it has these specific things, the multiple extensions, track by source, track by, give you back-end tracking, voice routing, and all those different features. We have a product that does exactly that and more. That being said, I don't sell it here on the webinar. If you're interested in being part of our mission, where we're taking 2,000 agents to an extra $250,000 a year in additional income just from our strategies and our help and our tools, then go to proquesttechnologies.com/VIP. It's about a 10-question questionnaire. Fill it out. And then what will happen is that it's a first come, first serve. If we kind of feel that you're a good fit for us, we'll get in contact with you. And what it'll be is it'll be a free 30-minute strategy session chatting with you just about your business. You'll either have a chat with me or with Gary Elwood. He's the co-founder of our company. We'll take a look at your business. We'll rip it apart. Don't cry. It's just Legos. We'll put it all back together again. Okay, I say that every time. And if we feel like you're a good fit at that point and we're right for each other, then we can chat about, you becoming a client using our service. Again, I can't say enough about it. How I met ProQuest Technologies was when I was a real estate agent and using their tool. So, but that being said, I'm not selling it here. I'm just giving away all these marketing strategies to you guys. But if you want more, and if you want to be part of our mission, taking 2,000 agents to $250,000 a year additional income, then you want to beat it over to ProQuestTechnologies.com/VIP. Okay? This is not for part-timers. This is not for people who don't want to work. This is not for agents who are comfortable. This is not for agents who don't believe that things change and you have to evolve with them. But if you're interested in strategies like these ongoing and actually having tools that help you support them too or maximize them, then you're willing to and you're ready to roll up your sleeves. This is actually something you want to build as a business, and you're interested in reaching $250,000 a year or more, then you're the right fit for us. Okay, this isn't for everybody, which is why I don't sell it to everybody. Again, this is by invitation only here. So ProQuestTechnologies.com/VIP. My email address, again, Andre@ProQuestTechnologies.com. Email me for the micro farming toolkit, and I'll send that over to you as soon as it's done. And now it's time for the live Q&A at the end. So I'm just going to leave my email up for a minute here, and I'm going to start answering questions. Oh, we've got a lot of questions in now. Okay, so are we posting the same content as the postcard mailer? Yes. Do you put up several? Oh, that's the old questions. Will FB take away your site if it becomes popular? No, not at all. There's fan pages out there with million-plus fans on them. No, Facebook, that's having a Facebook page. Facebook will never take away, well, I mean, I don't think they would, but Facebook will not take away your fan page. I mean, once it's your fan page, it's your fan page. Running out of time. How do I get more information about what you do in your service? Well, hopefully I just answered that. I'll check who that person is with the email address, and if they already got off before I got to all that, then I'll message them personally. With more people using mobile devices, would it be wise to still use ads on Facebook? Well, you're using it as a promoted, if I understand the question correctly, you're using it as a promoted post, and a lot of people are using Facebook through mobile, so you want to be popping up on their mobile device, and that's exactly how you do it. It's not popping up as an ad per se, it's a promoted post. Ads don't pop up on mobile. If you notice on mobile, you don't typically see ads. I mean, they might be rolling out softly in some situations, but again, an ad is not going to get as many clicks as a promoted post. I got an in there. Awesome. I hope that you provide a step-by-step printout. We're going to be working on that. Yeah. So when I said we're going to provide a quick start guide webinar, when we finish the micro farming toolkit and email that to you guys, we'll also do a webinar specifically that's just for helping you launch with this again, right? Kind of recapping not all the strategies, but just going straight into the meat, the how-tos. And then that webinar will be provided as a replay, or we'll have a PowerPoint step-by-step slide we'll share with you guys for it. What happens after you exhaust your budget? Well, I don't know how you'd exhaust your budget on this if the monthly budget is literally, because Micro Farming 101 doesn't take more than $100 a month or $100 to $200 a month. Add the community pin boards and all that. I mean, you just print those off. That's the cost of just printing them off one time and then going out and posting that all up. The 800 number message service, again, you can get some kind of if you get a cheesy hack thing where they leave a voicemail, you'll get some results off of it, for $30, $40 a month. I've described in what you want as a high-end service and all the features that it must have, because that's just going to he's going to give you a completely different management capability over your incoming leads and your conversation rate and your conversion rate, which I can speak to from firsthand experience when I went looking for 800 number services and ended up using ProQuest Technologies. If you run out of budget, though, I mean, you've still got your database of people you maybe got in from your initial opt-ins, and then it's just about sending them the monthly newsletter until you get listings. Do this consistently for 6 to 12 months, and your business will never be the same, and you will have those markets locked down. Okay, I had no idea that was an ad. Wow. Yep, you're very welcome. I have MVR. How do you see this working with Say Yes? Well, what will happen is that you can type up the message that the MVR system will say yes. The MVR system, guys, for those of you who are listening, that's an existing client of ours. We have voice routing. That stands for mobile voice routing. The way it would work is that when the person after your pre-recorded message is done, the prompt can come on and ask them to say yes, and then that prompt will just say, you can engineer that prompt to say, for your free report, say yes. Does Google Voice work for the call services? Don't know, never tried it. How do we get the giveaway? You email me at Andre@ProQuest Technologies, which is up in front of you. I'm now switching it to proquesttechnologies.com/VIP for the strategy session for those of you who want it. Oh my God, great gifts, thanks. You are very welcome. What's your email? You should already have that. What email address do we get you at for the bonus? You should already have that. How is this micro-farming technique for real estate similar to what the Obama campaign did to win the election? Very good question. President Obama, what he did is, if you talk to the marketers who actually ran his campaign, he was very smart. He didn't just have campaign managers. He also had campaign marketers that specifically did digital marketing. They hyper-segmented all their lists from their landing pages based upon where people opted in from geographically, demographically. They did hyper segmentation, and then all the email messages that they would send out were super related to just where those people opted in from, what the process was that they took to get there. So what happened is that they were micro-marketing to all their lists. So you could have gotten an email from President Obama during his first campaign and second campaign that maybe even somebody in the next town over didn't get the same one. Okay, they micro tested subject lines, email copy, but again, they also kept it really focused by state, by city, by activity that you came in from. And that's how a lot of his marketing felt so compelling and resonant with so many people, and why he has such strong traction with so many different audiences. If you find President Obama, if you look at it from just a campaign marketing perspective, the feat that he was able to accomplish is that he was able to resonate with so many different audiences, whereas a lot of candidates usually have a strong support in one type of audience or demographic, for example, one part of the nation, and they're weak somewhere else. The way he was able to accomplish that is by using micro-marketing. Again, a book by Greg Verdino. You can read more about micro-marketing and small thinking to get big results by Seth Godin. But micro-farming is a play on matching messages to people's worldviews. President Obama's marketing campaign was all about matching to people's worldviews and sharing a message with them that was important to them. Can you put the first step slide back up? Yeah, I can do that. There's your first steps. Pick 3 target neighborhoods, take a landmark picture, visit city council, etc. Do you have an affiliate arrangement? We are working on that. Whoever you are, I'll have your email address after this because the system captures everybody who messages me and what their email address is. We're working on that right now. I can email you. I can email you on that and we can have a chat. Great to fast on Facebook setup. Yeah, really simple, really fast. Nice word, nice process. What 800 services would you recommend? The only one I recommend is us, ProQuest Technologies. I say that from experience. I've tried so many different tools as a real estate agent. This was the best one, hands down, because of all the technology and the tracking and the management you get on the back end. You get 1,000 extensions. You get all the sourcing digits. But anyways, we don't want to just work with anybody and everybody, so to speak. We want to really work with the right agents because we want you to run with it. We want you to take our strategies. We've got about 15 more webinars planned on 12 to 15 different topics, and we're going to implement that all around creating live conversations for you guys. Can user block you from post ads? Yeah, they can. The block rate on that, though, is so dismally low, and again, that's actually more for national campaigns with really spammy stuff. If your ad is done right, if you're named Kirkland, community information, and your ad is about things that affect property prices, nobody's going to block that, really. I mean, that's just so hyper-related to them. If you understand marketing, you'll get what I'm saying there. Can we do this to get rid of him? I don't know what that means. Thanks, already posted the Facebook Live and sent you email request. All right, guys, do we have any more questions? If you don't, I've got a few people on the webinar, actually just one person, wow, whose name actually pops up. So hopefully maybe that person has a mic and we can have a chat. I hate that our integration page didn't have didn't have, isn't capturing people's names. Brett Smith, do you have a microphone? Brett, do you have a microphone? Brett, do you have a microphone? Brett Smith.
Yeah.
Hey man, what'd you think about the webinar today? Give me any feedback. You're the only person on the webinar whose name is popping up.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, you know what? I actually need to let you go. I just started another meeting, but I'd be happy to follow up by email.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, shoot me an email then.
Yeah.
What is the book you suggest reading? What are you currently reading? So the book I would recommend reading is All Marketers Are Liars by Seth Godin. All Marketers Are Liars by Seth Godin, and Micro Marketing by Greg Verdino. If you want my current reading list, email me and I'll read, and I'll actually email you the last. I'll email you the titles of the last 5 to 10 books I've read and the books that are on my list for next that I've identified as being really good books. I'm in a lot of different masterminds, and so where I get most of my reading list is from people who are really successful in marketing, and they're like, hey, I just read this book, yo, and it totally blew up my business, yo. And I really meant to sound like that. That's just as a joke. But yeah, email me. Whoever wants my reading list, just include in the email, or send me another email if you already have, and say, hey, I'd love to have your reading list, and I'll shoot you back my reading list. Looking to start a property management company, want to integrate. Very happy to help. Shoot me an email about that. Andre at ProQuestTechnologies.com, right there. No, where am I going? Got to go the other way. Email me, and I will happily help you out with that. And again, if you want a strategy session, go to ProQuestTechnologies.com/VIP. Let's see here. Carla says, this is a fantastic webinar, and I got a lot from it just in time for my new business plan. Awesome. I'm so happy to hear that, Carla. We're all here. I mean, again, I want to make 2014 a crazy awesome business for you, a crazy awesome year for you guys in your business. Stick with us on our series of webinars here through the end of 2013. Again, I would love to have you as one of our clients if you're the right fit. That being said, we're not going to penalize you if you're not and tell you can't come on our webinars or anything like that. These are all open source. It's all about sharing it with everybody, leveling the playing field. I've got so much more content I'm planning to give out. And it's all about just helping you guys just crush it come 2014. You're awesome. Love how you handled all those questions. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Like to buy homes for cash. Can I use this? Fix and flip. Yes. Actually, I've had questions asked about how to use this for investors. I've had questions asked about how to use microfarming for veterans. So I'm planning more webinars that are going to show you examples of how to target, for example, veterans, how to target maybe as an investor. I'm going to have an entire series on just internet marketing using 800 number calling message services, pre-recorded message services, using micro-marketing examples, micro-farming examples. The amount of technology and tools out there, like, for example, when I was talking about the Facebook thing, and I was saying create a landing page, well, where the heck do you go to set up a landing page that's effective? Well, I've got a solution and a tool for that. So just stay tuned. Whenever you see one of our emails, I can't say it enough, open them up and read them. The other thing too is go like us on Facebook, because every single thing I plan on doing, every webinar I do, every training that we put out, it goes on Facebook like days before we do it with an invite. So want to make sure you're opening our emails. You want to make sure that you're on our Facebook fan page, so you're just getting everything that we're doing. Because I mean, just short of me, calling you, I can't do that to everybody, but we're emailing everybody and we're setting these things up for you guys. All right, guys. Well, I have to get ready for another meeting. I got to get going. I've got to get going here. I have got looks like, yep, I've got a 2 o'clock scheduled, so I got to get going. You got to get ready for that. Really appreciate everybody that hung out with me today. Hope you guys enjoy the webinar. Looking forward to your feedback on Facebook. Email me. Oh, somebody wants my email again. Okay, my email address, Andre at ProQuestTechnologies.com. Andre, A-N-D-R-E-Y, at ProQuestTechnologies.com. Facebook me, though. I personally hang out on our Facebook fan page every single day, so if you have any questions about anything, feel free to just leave us a comment on Facebook and I'll answer it there, or you can email me, whatever it may be. Again, this has been Micro Farming, how to average 3 to 5 additional listings a month predictably. And I hope you guys can see how easy it can be, how simple the system is, but how powerful it is if you just walk it out step by step and then do it. consistently for 6+ months, I am telling you, your business will never be the same again. Hands down. Okay? I'm Andre. This has been hosted by ProQuest Technologies. Looking forward to my next webinar with you guys. I always love these. By next time, I should have the name issue fixed so I can finally do my favorite part, which is unmuting each one of you one by one at the end and having a chat with you. So take care, guys. Best of success, and I'll see you on the next one.